You don't want to do. You want to get a good clean start. You don't want any tension in your body, and it's all about 2.5 kilometers before the first prone shoot.
Simon Eder starting there, number 19. He was the fastest on the tracks yesterday, and that includes RUHRGAS.
Incredible. He's a young athlete. Alfred Eder, his father, he's done so much for the young Austrian team, and maybe, just maybe, he can move up into the top 5 today.
No real surprise to see Ferry and Sikora closing in on Svensson. Svensson will take the first lap relatively slowly, and then he just starts to press the accelerator.
That's true, but it's quite a margin for Thomas Sikora to have pulled back 7 seconds with less than 1 kilometer traveled. It's a lot of extra work, but a great strategy. Provided
he hasn't built the lactate levels too high.
Well, now he can relax. As you say, Svensson generally taking the first lap steady-ish by his standards.
Good chance for Antholz today?
I think so. It's all about accuracy today. Of course, you need the ski speed. But Antholz, from all the biathletes here in the men's race, one of the best in 4 shoots.
Well, he got his best of the season yesterday, finishing in 5th, but he's very consistent, and with a 93% hit rate in the prone this year, you'd expect Antholz to be in the top 3 at the end of the prone shooting, the first 2 shots. For 0.9 of a second now, separating the top 3. Sikora, as you say, has done the work early on. Now he's just trying to relax into the first shoot, which comes at 2.5 kilometers. Antholz holding on to 5th. He started 19 behind. He's closed 5 seconds down.
Do you know, I think this indicates the strategy that Svensson is on. He's taking it steady first time in. He knows that you don't want to kill yourself off in this first part of the race. And everyone else chasing will be taking themselves up to that very high level.
Are you slightly surprised that Ferry and Sikora haven't gone through? Is this the aura of Svensson that he's developed already? They've got so much respect, they won't overtake him.
I think you're right. That's playing a part. But I mean, it's still not an easy pace. But to go in for the first shoot, why not? It's quite comfortable to go in 2nd and 3rd position.
Svensson stays quite low with the legs, Mike. He plants it with a lot of flexion in the knee. He doesn't really extend like Bjorndalen does, but it's a very powerful style.
It's a style based on his absolute strength, isn't it? Bjorndalen is more springy and explosive.
Which of the Austrians do we need to watch out for today? Is it going to be Christoph Suman, who started 6th, just 27 seconds behind? Suman now 33, by no means the oldest in that leading group, but he's getting on a bit. There's the extra 500 meters. The women had turned right by this stage and headed back towards the stadium. The men have a 500-meter loop to complete, and then they'll be in for the first shot. Wind conditions are good, but slightly stronger than it was earlier on, blowing once again from left to right, and lanes 1 through to 10 might possibly have the wind dropping down from the banking onto the firing point.
Absolutely, more so than from lane 15 down to 30. So, but in the 0, the wind was doing much the same thing. So they've certainly set the rifles for these conditions, the sun, the wind. So now it's all about the mind, the breathing, and the high pulse rate.
Well, the 3 leaders here have all won World Cups in their time. Svensson with 10, as we mentioned. Bjorn Ferry has only got 1 win, and it came on these tracks in Antholz and in this race. Ferry wearing the blue with yellow stripes of Sweden. Thomas Sikora in a suit very similar to the Norwegians, but it is, of course, the Polish suit, bright red. And Sikora's got a good prone record. He's not quite so good in the standing, so the second half of the race is where he's got to be careful. Bergman, who we thought might have taken the win yesterday in the sprint, dropped down to 5th, but it was still a very good run. And Antholz is right up there as well. Schlesinger up to 9th.
Stefan is quite amazing, the young German athlete, from 12th up into 5th. He's certainly putting out the fastest lap time in the first 2.5 Ks.
Well, the German selection for the World Championships is pretty much complete, but the president apparently has to put his signature on the selection form, and that hasn't been done yet. But the word is out that Tony Lang is the man who's going to miss out.
Yeah, he hasn't been up in the top 5, and you need to be showing that kind of performance. It's all about medals for the Germans.
So that means Roche is going to go, Pfeiffer is going to go, and of course Christoph Stefan, who's well placed in the World Cup standings at the moment. So Svensson, world number 1. Bjorn Ferry in 8th. Thomas Sikora in 2nd position in the standings, all on the firing point together as the masses join them. Bad start for Sikora. Chance for Bjorn Ferry to get ahead. Taking his time and making safe.
You've got to be safe there. Sikora, 2 penalty laps. What a disastrous start.
You'd expect Hannibal to do the same as Bjorn Ferry. He's not quick with the shooting, but he's accurate. 5 go down. Bergman has gone clear as well. And a big cheer for Mickey Grice, who's gone 5 with 5.
I think Grice could win this one today. I really do. But Stefan missed 3 targets. That's the payback from such a fast loop.
Now watch Simon Eder's target for Austria, nearest the camera at the moment. Missed his opportunity to go to career by failing to finish on the podium, but he was the quickest skier. I wonder whether he's going to get a call up for Liberec and the Nordic World Championships.
I wonder if he makes the top 3 today, if they'll give him another chance. He had to make the top 3 yesterday to go to the World Champs, but Eder is moving forward.
But once you change the parameters, Mike, then they'll expect that to happen every year.
Yeah, selection is selection. You have your policy, you have your results, which you have to achieve.
Legelic of Canada going clear. He'll move up through the order. We'll give you the positions of the movers and shakers. Bjorn Ferry has gone to the top. Svensson Mike dropping from 1st down to 5th.
And not too much concern at the moment. 16.3 seconds behind for Svensson. He'll start pulling that back. The best mover, Eder, from 19th to 9th.
That's a good run from him. Tim Burke goes from 15th to 12th for the USA. Good start for Tim Burke, and if he skis like he did yesterday, he could certainly finish on the podium for the first time in his career. Misses from Nielsen and Jonsson of Sweden. Further down, a disaster for Sadovnikov with 2 misses out of the first 3 shots, and I wonder whether there's a sighting problem there. Bjorn Ferry, very solid, Mike, but almost certainly a tactical move to take time over the first shot and an extra breath in between each of the rounds.
Beautiful tactics from Ferry. He could have, you sense, have gone past Svensson with ease, but he stayed there and he took a further 5 seconds to hit the targets.
Well, there you see the top 10. The figure in the white block, which is now gone, was the indication of the position they started in, as is the bib number. So you'll be able to see who's making ground and who is losing. Everything going Sweden's way at the moment in the men's pursuit. They've got Bjorn Ferry leading the way, and a good run for Carl-Johan Bergman, who's moved up into 2nd place. Hannibal of Norway in 3rd, and a dangerous looking Mickey Grice in 4th, ahead of the World Cup leader Svensson in yellow, back in 5th place at the moment, having started first. But Svensson, who was 16 seconds behind, is now more like 12.5, 12.6 seconds down on the leader, so making ground slowly. Thomas Sikora, Mike.
Well, he missed 2 targets. Normally Sikora comes in, he's like Hannibal. He takes his time to build the position and then he can shoot quite fast, but 2 mistakes. Very, very much out of character for him.
Beautiful mountains to both the east and the west. If none of you have been to Antholz, it's well worth a visit. Right in the north of Italy. In fact, it's what, 4 or 5 kilometers from the Austrian border, and big peaks both to the east and west, around 3,000, 3,100 meters. So there's no shortage of snow up high. There's no shortage of snow in the stadium, and we had an extra 2 inches of fresh snow overnight with -10 first thing in the morning. It is idyllic.
There's not much in it. Bjorn Ferry, he's got all the big names chasing him. And beautiful cornering. There's an S-bend just before this long glide section. And Bjorn Ferry, he's so technically good on those downhill segments.
It'd certainly be interesting to have a pulse watch on Bjorn Ferry to see what percentage of his maximum he's running at. He looked to be putting in a lot of effort on that major climb up to the first split point.
Some of the cross-country athletes have it, and I noticed that Lukas Bauer earlier on the television, he was at 98% maximum, and today a lot of these athletes will be on 98%, probably on the last loop.
Well, they need to be bringing it down now because the second shoot coming up very shortly. That's the approach to the range. Mike, when you were racing here, where did you start to calm down?
At the top of this climb, you've got the momentum into the 3/4 of the way up the climb, and then you really have to start getting your breathing under control.
When did you last see 2 Swedes leading a pursuit? I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think we have ever, as they're making history right now. But let's hope for them it's still going to be the case after this shoot.
2 Swedes, 2 Norwegians, 1 German in the top 5. A little bit further down.
Svensson's pulled it back to 9 seconds. It was 16.
Well, Svensson's right in touch with Mickey Grice now, which I guess was the aim, but we'll see whether that affects his ability to hit the targets. Bjorn Ferry, once again, taking plenty of time in preparation for that first shot. He hit 5 at the first time of asking. He needs the same again. Bergman, his teammate, alongside him. Hannevold in lane 3, Grice 4, Svensson, lane 5. 5 out of 5 for Ferry, and Svensson's gone clear as well. If Ferry would have wanted one person to miss, it would have been Emil Hegler Svensson, but he's better than that. He's gone 5 with 5. Disaster for Grice, disaster for Hannevold, and likewise for Bergman of Sweden. 2 misses apiece.
Quite surprising, the wind has picked up. It's dropping down from behind now, but they should have been able to read that. Chance for Sikora.
Well, it is interesting, Mike, that lanes 1 to 5 pretty much have the hardest conditions, and that's something that the leaders have got to be very, very aware of. Now, does that have a greater effect in the prone or the stand?
In the prone, actually, today, because it's not a strong wind to move the body.
Suman is clear. Schlesinger has gone clear. We'll try and pick up on the best of the Austrians, because they're a nation that are really making good advances in the world of biathlon. They've got 2 in the top 5 at the moment with Ada and Suman. Ada's had a great start, Mike, 0-0, and he's only 38 seconds off the leaders.
That is quite unbelievable. From 19th position to 4th for Simon Eder.
Sounds like Neuner in the women's race this morning.
Well, and he did shoot the perfect 5 yesterday in the lying down the prone position, but he missed 3 out of 5 in the standing. But so much at stake for the young Eder.
But he's got to pace himself carefully. Landertinger has gone clear for Austria as well. Simon Foucault, good to see him shooting. We'll try and pick up on his progress. The Frenchman started down in 27th position, and he must have made improvements on that.
I can't think when we've had such a bad day for the Russians. Chudov, he's been, well, he's down in 15th, second twice the last 2 World Championships in this race.
Well, there you see 10 through to 20. Tobias Eberhardt with missed targets down in 20th position. It's Bjorn Ferry who still leads for Sweden with Svensson on his tail. Welcome back to Antholz, just in time to pick up on the top 3. It's the same 3 that started, but a slightly different order. It was Svensson, Ferry, Sikora at the start. It all changed after the first shoot. It all reversed again after the second, and they've built themselves a little bit of breathing space.